Hi, my name's Wendy from Sunflower Publishing, and I'm absolutely delighted to have as my guest this afternoon Nancy Barone. Have I said that right? Barone. Have I said that
Hi,
right?
Wendy. Yes, you have. It could be Barone, Barone,
Barone.
whatever is fine.
Well,
There's many
let's
versions.
sound Italian. Let's say Barone. That sounds even more Italian, doesn't it? Um,
Let's.
Nancy grew up in Canada, but we'll find out all about this as we have a chat. Nancy grew up in Canada, but at the age of 12, her family moved to Italy. She stayed in Italy, and I'm right in saying that you went to university in Italy. And despite being surrounded by handsome Italian men, I love this bit, she married an even more handsome British guy. And now they live in Sicily, where she still teaches English, I think.
That's correct.
Nancy's had a number of romance novels published, well, many, in fact. The Husband Diet was her first women's fiction book. So, welcome, Piacere.
Thanks, Wendy. Nice to be here. Piacere mio.
So, can I go back to the move to Italy? You were kind of 12, just about to 13, weren't you? Let's go back to that time. Tell me about that move. Why did your family make that move? And what effect did you think that had on you and your life?
Well, Wendy, that move was seismic in
Yeah,
every way.
yeah,
I was 12 going on 13, just about to go to what is year eight.
yeah.
And my mother, more than my dad, she missed her family because both come from very large families. And my mother missed her family so much that she decided to drag the entire family to Sicily under the pretext that A, school started in October, yay, and
Okay.
and B, the weather was always great, and that we could swim in the sea 6 months of the year. So I thought, yes, I'm a city girl, but I could deal with that. I could
So
adapt to
were
that.
you convinced
And
by that argument? I think when we moved once, we promised the kids they could have a dog if they moved. If you move, you'll have better summers. If you move, you don't need school will start later. Were you convinced by that?
Wendy, I was promised a horse, to be honest, but that never happened. But
Okay,
we
that
did get
didn't.
dogs, though.
Okay.
We did get dogs, and we lived in the countryside, about 900 meters from the coast, which was great. And I lived there until 3 years ago. We used to have a huge farmhouse in the countryside. Now we have a house in town, but it's funny because the front of the house is in the middle of town, and the back of the house is in the countryside because the town is long and narrow. So, but yeah, as getting back to your question, it was unbelievably difficult because I did understand Italian, but I wasn't fluent in it. And going to school and studying all the new subjects that we never had in Canada, um, anthology and the classics, I didn't know anything about Achilles when I was 12.
No.
So I had to work my way up from basically the bottom. And in the space of 8 months, I learned the language. I became fluent. And no spelling mistakes, which was a great feat. It made me very proud, but it was hard work,
I can
very hard.
imagine. Knowing what you know now and the way that your life has gone, are you happy with that move? Did you ever resent that move?
I did resent it the first few months while I was struggling to learn a language, but I think in the end, that move made me. It made
Yeah,
me stronger. It
yeah,
made me determined.
yeah. Character building.
It is character building. So, and plus living in Italy, living in Europe is so much more fascinating because you can travel and in an hour you're in a different country
Mm,
and you meet different cultures, and you can't have that in Canada.
no.
You'd only change provinces, not even after flying 2 hours. So I
Were
love
you
Europe and I love
known?
Italy. And
Were you known at school as the Canadian girl then? Were you, did you feel an outsider, or because you already had family there, were you welcomed with open arms?
Well, again, my family, both on my mom's and dad's sides, are huge. So we always had at least 20 people at our home at any
Right.
given time. So the
Right.
family did rally around us.
Okay.
But I realized that when I was in school, the kids were great. They were all lots of fun. I never got made fun of or bullied or anything because I was different. I even looked different because in my class, everybody was dark hair, dark skin, dark eyes, and I was the only one that stuck out. But I made some amazing friends in that year, that first year that I still cherish today. So everything turned out for the best, luckily.
So let's move on to your writing journey now, because I know from what I've read that you always enjoyed writing from a fairly young age. So tell me about the writing journey. When did that really start for you? When did you? And your I think one of your teachers at school said, "Well, yeah, you know, you've got a bit of talent. You've got some ability there." So talk me through that stage.
Yes, that was in junior high, grade seven. Miss Ford, who was my homeroom teacher, she would make us write a story. We would do an hour of creative writing every week, and she constantly told me that I had a flair for writing. So I ended up writing the school plays, the Christmas plays, the Valentine's Day plays. I ended up writing any piece of fiction that was needed for the school, and that kind of gave me the confidence that I always lacked because I was always shy, still am. But knowing that I was good at one thing kind of urged me to go on and do it. And I've been writing since I was a kid. I used to make up countries and draw maps and plonk down a mountain range crossed by a river. And my school friends would look at me and say, "How do you do it?" It's just, wanting to do something so badly that you give up time, take time from your studies, actually.
Well, after school, you then looked at further education and you went to the University of Pisa.
Pizza. That's right.
Pisa.
Right.
And you studied English and French literature.
That's right. I also studied a year of Russian
Oh, okay.
because I'm curious. I like to know and learn about languages, even if I don't necessarily learn them fluently. But I did want to know what it was all about. I used to look at the alphabet and think, God, what that looks like hieroglyphics. I need to learn that. So I
So
have a curiosity to approach things.
tell me about the kind of books that you would have studied then at university. Well, English stuff and French stuff. Obviously, there was no Italian literature in that syllabus. So, talk me through how studying English and French literature helped with your creative writing process.
Well, I think that English and French literature are among the most poetic, really, apart from Italian literature. I would read something both in French and English and think, wow, I wish I could write something so poignant. So I jot it down and think about it. And these became part of how I wanted to write and who I wanted to be. I always try to put a, a dash of poetry or something touching that touches the soul, even if I'm writing a comedy. There
Right.
has to be something that really touches you deeply. So I guess learning, studying literature was a big part of my journey.
Mhm.
Absolutely, it was.
And
And even then, we were asked to write.
who were the authors, the writers, British and French, that you really felt some kind of connection with?
Lots for different aspects, for different reasons. I've always loved Shakespeare, obviously, and Christopher Marlowe, uh, Dickens, and even more modern authors like Joyce and Virginia Woolf and David Lodge. When I
Right,
discovered David Lodge, that was it for me.
right.
I read everything he's ever written.
Right.
And as far as the French goes, Flaubert, Malherbe, Apollinaire, the poet, everybody just fascinated by all these giants and wonder how did it Baudelaire, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
how do they do it?
How do they do?
Yeah,
At
exactly.
university, what did you think was going to come after university? What was the career path that you wanted to take then?
That's a very good question. I always wanted to write, but I never thought that I'd be able to because in the day, writers were so inaccessible in so many ways, and publishers were inaccessible. So I thought the next best thing is teaching. So I thought I'll go out and get myself a teaching certificate and teach English language and literature.
Mm. And you're still doing
Now
that now. You're still
I do,
teaching.
yes.
Do you teach within the Italian state system?
I do,
Oh,
yes. I teach
right.
in a small
Okay.
village, a small fishing village about 20 minutes away from my home. And I teach 11 to 14-year-olds.
Right.
And it's amazing to see the moment when they grasp something that I'm explaining to them, their faces light up. And I think that's why I do it, to see
Mm.
that change
Mm.
and to help them navigate the difficulties because the Italian school system is pretty demanding compared to, say, the American one or even the British one. I was a cover supervisor for a year in London, and I had the opportunity to compare syllabuses, and the Italian one is so much more difficult and complete, I'd say.
So
Absolutely.
you did
But yeah,
the,
it did help me.
you know, the oh, what's it called? The Italian sort of state exam that gets people in
The concorso.
the concorso. So you did the concorso.
Yeah, that was amazing because there
I,
were
I think
9,000
I've heard that's
candidates.
it's easier to win Britain's Got Talent than it is to get through
Yes,
the concorso because you have these different
it's
levels
true.
and points, and I'm thinking, oh my God, wow,
Yeah, it was pretty daunting, especially when I used to follow the updates and I learned that there were 9,000 candidates. And I thought,
yeah,
oh my God, how
yeah,
am I going to do this? And in the end, there were only 2,000 candidates that passed the exam, and I was 43rd, I think.
wow, wow.
Yeah. And they were only taking 50 for that year. So I thought, wow,
Yeah,
just made it.
Britain's Got Talent sounds much easier, really, doesn't it?
I'm sure
I've
it is.
spoken to so many people about this. I mean, I went into teaching when I first came here. What else could I do when I got to Italy? So I went into to teaching. I just couldn't get my head around the concorso because it's so very, very different from the way that teachers are recruited in England, basically. It's just so much more localized. If a school has a vacancy, they advertise, interview two or three, and choose one. I could never understand how. But then when it was explained to me that, for so many years, and I don't think it still is, but the government always wanted to get away from that whole nepotism thing. That, it was
Yeah,
always going to
absolutely.
be jobs for your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, your neighbor. And it was a way to change that system. So I kind of got that in the end. But
Yeah.
just going back to the teaching then, do you think that being a teacher and using your language skills, do you think that helped in your own creative writing process?
Oh my God, yes. To learn how other brains work
Work.
and see the creativity in other people, it just adds to your own. I,
Yeah.
I can honestly say that by teaching, I'm the one that's learned so
Right.
much. I've been teaching for 25 years now,
Right.
and I've learned so much about people, about adolescence that the concorso doesn't prepare you
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
I've learned about behavior management that no one taught me. You just learn it
No.
on your own
No.
skin.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've loved being a teacher. It's opened so many doors for me, and I've met such wonderful students, wonderful people, wonderful teachers, and it's been a privilege to see to take kids from 13 upwards and have this kind of influence a little bit on their lives. And I always wanted to be the Julia Roberts, in that lovely teaching film, I always wanted to be the one that had the most influence and that they'd remember, because you do remember your teacher, don't you? In
Absolutely.
what was, I can't remember the film now.
Well,
It'll
I
come
always
to
wanted to be Mr. Keating in the Dead Poet Society.
yeah. But you do remember your good teachers. You do remember the bad ones, and you remember the teachers that gave you that encouragement and that support. And I think, it suddenly dawned on me that really, that's what teachers should be doing, shouldn't it really? To give that level of support. Well,
Absolutely. At that age, they're very insecure, so they need
yeah.
someone by their side.
Absolutely. So let's move on now to how you actually, the first thing that you wrote, the novella, tell me about that.
Yes, that was called The Homecoming. It was a
Yes.
paranormal romance. And I think it was Harlequin or can't remember. That's very bad. I can't remember, but it was a publisher who was running this. They were asking for a 35-word novella,
Right.
and I didn't even know what 35 words 35K looked like. So I thought, right, I'm going to try, and I invented this world where this couple were both immortal, but in order to come back to life, they would have to kill each other basically, and they'd then come back to life, live their love life together, and they would have to do this forever. This was their curse. And I thought, well, I enjoyed writing it very much, and so I sent it off and forgot about it, completely forgot about it, which is something that seems corny, but I did because I had a really busy year at work. And I'd asked my husband, Nick, to check my emails while I was at work to see if, if we would hear back or anything. And what he did, he found the email saying, "Congratulations, we want to publish your novella, blah, blah, blah." And he marked it as unread.
Right.
And he said to me when I got home from work, "I haven't had time to check your emails. You check them." So I sat down and started checking my emails, unbeknownst to me that he actually had a camera ready because he'd already read the email.
Oh,
And he
how
took a
sneaky.
picture.
How sneaky. What a
Yes.
sneaky husband he is.
And there's actually a picture of me like with my eyes wide open
Well,
as
you would
as I
be.
am.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you would be reading this. So he recorded you going, oh, it was one of those oh my God moments, have
It's
I
like
read that right? That lovely.
exactly, exactly. It was a great
So
moment. And
did you think then this is it? I'm at the start now. Well, I'm at the starting post. I'm lining up with everybody else now. I mean that was amazing. So how old were you then when that happened? If you were at work, so that was after university. What?
oh,
Uh,
I was well into my 30s. I would say
right.
I was
Okay.
you know what? I think I was 40,
Okay.
40.
Right.
And I never let my age deter me because some of my favorite authors today are um, pastors in, well into their 60s. So age was never a thing for me. But I thought, yes, I've got my toe in the door,
Right.
maybe my tiny toe,
Yeah.
and it's all uphill from here. It's like losing weight. Losing weight is not difficult. It's maintaining the weight, your current, your target weight. So I always knew it would be an uphill battle. And the search for an agent. I have an amazing agent, Lorella Belli, based in London, from the Lorella Bella Literary Agency, and she is amazing. And at the moment, I'm published with Aria, Head of Zeus, their Bloomsbury group,
Yeah.
and I can't say I've had so much support. So right now, I'm where I want to be,
I
but I'm still ambitious. In the future, I want to progress,
mean,
maybe switch.
you did say, sorry, in an earlier interview with somebody that you'd had, you had been doing this. I mean, I know teaching was your career, but you had been writing, you had been submitting, querying, but
Yes.
there had been rejections. And, looking back, was there at any point when you were getting these rejections where you were just on the verge of saying, oh, forget it then. It's not
Oh,
going to
yes,
happen. Yeah.
absolutely. I wrote an article for Romance Matters, the RNA, um, uh, monthly. Actually, no, it's every 3 months. I wrote an article about rejection. It was called "Why Not Me?" And being rejected is, again, it sounds corny, but it's so important to help you. It is character building. And if you read those rejection letters with the idea of taking away their suggestions and to build your craft, to hone your craft, it is so useful. And even reviews today.
Mm.
Of course, everybody loves the 4 and 5 star ones, but occasionally, I remember once I got a review. It was a 2 star for The Husband Diet, which is a
Okay.
book that I absolutely love.
Yes.
I love that
Yes.
trilogy because I
I
love the
think so
character.
did everybody else.
Yeah. And I got a 2 star review because the reader had calculated my heroine, Erica's BMI. And it wasn't, so she deemed that she wasn't big enough or curvy enough. So she was disappointed. Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that a writer does put up with, or readers that missed a page or accuse you of something that isn't true. Another time I got for Erica, she fires one of her staff after giving him, a chef, multiple chances to get back on the straight and narrow. And he doesn't because he's an alcoholic. And so in the end, she has to fire him. And I was accused, this reviewer accused me of being a bully. So you have to roll with the punches, I think, and take.
Do you think the reviews, good and bad, do you think that kind of toughens you up a bit? I mean, when I speak to authors and I said, "What's the worst review?" Things like, "Well, I'm glad I never bought this book. I'm glad I just, found it on a chair in a railway station. I'm glad I never bought it." What? You can't begin to imagine how cruel some people can be, really.
I
But
think that a lot
maybe
of
you just
reviewers,
laugh about it and think, yeah, well, with a review like that, I'm glad you didn't buy it either, really.
yeah. The thing is, to be a writer, you have to be so thick-skinned.
Yeah.
And I confess, initially, I wasn't. I used to
No.
hang on
Every,
every word that my reviewers used to write
yeah,
and regale in the good ones and start to panic with the
yeah,
bad ones. But then
yeah.
if you know you're learning your craft, I can't say that any author wants to stop learning where they are. Every author is still honing their craft. It's just like a language that evolves constantly in time.
Mm.
So take the good ones and let them sustain you like a nice piece of chocolate cake.
Absolutely.
And the bad ones will just have to go.
Someplace
I
else.
mean, if they're constructive, yes, yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I
of
don't
all
mind
the
a bad review that's constructive.
Of all the reviews I do, because I know how long it takes people to write books and either a mainstream publisher or self-publish, I would never ever dream of being negative. Even if I thought there was a point in the book that could be changed, I might just say, what I would suggest is perhaps the author would like to look at,
Yeah,
something or other. I would never ever do a review that I thought was just destructive, unkind, and cruel. Like you say, there's too much of a person invested in that book. And as a teacher, that
absolutely.
is not the way to give any kind of support and guidance. You don't destroy people, whatever they've done, do
Absolutely.
you,
Scathing
really?
reviews. I agree with you. I mean, if
So,
you don't, well, Mama taught me to be nice. So if I have nothing nice to say,
exactly. What was that lovely
just
word from a cartoon? Bambi, if you can't say anything nice, just don't say anything at all. And it always has always stayed with me, really. So let's go
exactly.
so after we had the first novella, Timeless, out there, and it had been
Yep.
published. The next move I think you made, you found the Women's Festival in Matera and you sort of packed your bags
Yes.
and went there. Now, there's a really funny story about somebody must have said to you, do you want to get up on stage and pitch? It didn't
Oh my
sound
God,
like you.
yes.
You know what I'm going to say. It
Oh
didn't
my goodness.
sound like you had a lot of time to do this. And it was, okay, so t tell us about that because that's an amazing
This was
story.
the this was the first time I'd ever been to Matera. I'd never even heard about it, and I just learned about it 2 days prior. So I wanted to hobnob with writers so some of their talent could rub off on me. I wanted to breathe their air.
Yeah, yeah,
So I booked a flight, went and landed myself in Matera, which is a gorgeous city.
yeah.
And there I met Elizabeth Jennings, who
Oh,
used to
right,
organize
right.
the yes, an amazing woman and an even more amazing writer. And she, I call her my fairy godmother. In my emails, it's always hi FGM, because she really encouraged me. She once at dinner time, she was looking at me. She patted my hand. She said, "Yep, you're going to make it one day," and that was great. But to get back to your question, sorry, I keep digressing.
That's
Um, yeah, I was sitting there, front row, because I wanted to get as much as I could out of these talks. And this guy who was on stage, he said, right, now I need someone to come up here on the stage
okay.
and give us a 30-second pitch. And I thought, yeah, good luck with that. And he pointed at me. And I thought, oh my God,
Shock
I've got
horror.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
As
I've
again, because
got
I'm so shy,
nothing.
I've got
Right.
nothing. And so I'm panicking while I'm going on stage. And then all of a sudden, it just came to me, this woman who's sick of her marriage. She changes everything. She gets a haircut. She she moves to Italy, to Tuscany, and that's Erica Cantelli, who
Yes,
became the heroine of
yes,
my trilogy.
yes.
Yes, excuse me. So then, from then
So hang
on,
on. So
it
this
was
idea just
Erica.
came from nowhere. I mean, this is improvisation at its best. Surely, when Jimmy says, come up with an idea and you came up with that idea. And how was that idea? Well, obviously, we know now that you did go ahead and write the book, but initially, how was that pitch received then?
It was received well. There was applause, polite applause, but there was applause. And he asked, "How many women in this room can relate to something like that?" And three
Right.
quarters of the hands went up. I thought, "Oh, maybe I've got something here,"
Wow.
because the heroine was vulnerable. She
Yes.
tried to pass herself off as strong and I don't care and all this, but inside she was hurting on so many levels. And I thought, yeah, I could write about someone like that. And
But you
she's
you
kept me
you put
company for
you
years.
gave her she's a
A
hotel
hotel manager.
manager. How where did that come from? What do you know about running a hotel that you could draw on for
It's
the
funny you should
story?
ask.
Really?
It's funny you should ask, because after my university degree, there weren't any jobs anywhere. So I thought I applied for a job as a hotel receptionist in Sicily,
Oh, right.
not far from my own home. And I worked there for about 4 to 6 months, the whole summer season, so spring and summer seasons. And Wendy, I cannot begin to tell you all the things I've seen and the people I've met and the idiosyncrasies. It gave me loads of material
Right.
for a book.
Wow.
And because my heroine felt like an absolute failure at home,
Yeah.
I had to make her good at something. So
Yeah.
I made her
Successful at work.
handling crises. Personal crises, not that much, but work crises, she's your girl. And
So
she's kept me company.
this was the first one. This was the husband diet. This was picked up in 2013 by a mainstream publisher. How
That's right.
did that happen then? So did you have the publisher first or did you have the manuscript first?
I had the manuscript first
Right.
because I had a kind of thing. I don't want to contact anyone unless I've got something concrete to show them. So I'd written The Husband Diet, only it had another title. Keeping It Light. That was the title, because
Okay.
she would always try to keep things light. And I had a list of 100 British and American publishers. And I remember it was January 1st. And I thought it was about midnight. And I thought, this one here is the last one. I'm going to stop because it's very late and I need to go to bed. So I uploaded what was my favorite chapter of the manuscript and put in my information, sent it away. And again, like the other 99 emails, the other 99 queries that I sent, just went to bed and forgot about it. 1 week later, I get an email from the uh, the owner of the publishing house, and he said that he absolutely loved it. It made him cry and laugh at the same time. So would I be interested in a contract? Oh, yes, I would. Thank you very much.
Do you know, this is such a
And that's how it
lovely
started.
success story, isn't it? Aren't they just the best?
Thank
Aren't they
you.
just, I mean, for most people, it's the Holy Grail. And, oh, I don't know, with it, I just always say to people on the writing retreat, if you have a good product, if you have a good wind behind you and the determination, there is no reason why
Yes.
you shouldn't, get this. No reason at all. And this is such a success story.
Absolutely. It caught me really blindsided because I didn't see it coming because I was so discouraged. I think the Aquarius were mechanical by then. All I knew was that I had a good product, a story that had kept me company for months on end, and Eric and I had become really best friends. So I believed in her,
Yeah.
and
Was
apparently
there
she believed in me.
was there much of you in Erica?
I would say so. The weight issues because she's curvy, and it was always something um, in her mind, something that she wanted to change that she never really got round to because other priorities took the forefront, and also her honesty and vulnerability.
Right.
Those are the two
Yeah.
things. Like she'll
And
make
you obviously
a crack and
now
make everybody laugh.
feel that those things are things that many women can identify with, and that really is so you've already got your kind of hook, haven't you? And because women can identify with those. Um, so
Absolutely.
from that one, because you then had a My Big Fat Italian Breakup and Storm and a D Cup. So that was the trilogy. So did the publishing
That's
company
correct.
want more from you? Did they say, "Oh, we'll give you a three-book contract then," or how did that work?
There was a 3 book contract. Only I think Erica went a different way that
Yeah,
the publishers were prepared to
right,
accept
right. So that's why you
because
changed
Erica is a bit,
publishers.
that's right. That's right. In the end, I realized that Erica needed to be freed,
Right.
respected. I didn't want anything formulaic. I wanted her to surprise the reader
Mhm,
as she surprised me.
mhm.
I'd be writing a scene and all of a sudden it would be going in a completely different direction. I thought, you know what, I'll go with it because this actually is crazy. This works. This will make my readers laugh. And it kept me laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've cackled to myself as I was pounding away until midnight. So yeah, it worked. It worked. I
And
remember one review was
gonna
sorry.
go on. Tell me, go on. One review was, tell me.
One review was, I don't know how this book hasn't been turned into a series
Right.
because it really works, and it would be amazing to see her on screen. So that's something that I cherish that review.
Is that still somewhere that a benchmark that you'd really like to, something on Netflix,
Oh my
perhaps,
goodness,
who would you have to
that
play
would be
Erica?
fantastic.
And I'm sure you've given this a bit of thought. Who would play Erica?
Absolutely. Mm. Initially, I thought because I wasn't sure about the size. But I love any kind. I love women from Kate Winslet. She's my absolute favorite, but she's in no way uh,
Big enough,
curvy or big
curvy
enough for the
enough.
part.
Yeah.
Brooke Elliott,
Yeah.
curvy.
Yeah.
Brooke Elliott. So yeah, I had lots of ideas. I even had like a Pinterest board of actresses that I thought would be great. And the male was always well, later when he became famous, my male characters mostly are inspired by Aidan Turner.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Oh, you're
especially
a
my Cornish
Poldark
books.
fan. You're a
Absolutely
Aren't we all?
guilty.
I have to say, aren't we
Guilty.
all in that open shirt? Whew, yes, feel a bit hot now thinking about
Yes. And
it.
it was great because I actually got to meet him
Oh, did you?
at a Comic-Con. I did
Right.
in Telford at Comic-Con. He was lovely. He was filming Michelangelo, and
Yeah.
he just flown in from Rome. And I spoke to him in Italian, and he was like, "Buongiorno, buongiorno," trying to speak to me in Italian. He was so sweet. And meeting him in person, it substantiated my characters, the idiosyncrasies that I liked in my male characters. And
Mm,
and sometimes I would make him Sicilian, sometimes I'd make him Irish, sometimes British, but it was most of the time it was Aidan Turner there.
yeah.
He's just so vibrant.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I was going to ask about, why you were quite set on having an English publisher. Why? What difference would that make to writing?
That's thanks for asking that question because since I was a child, I have been obsessed with England.
Right.
At school in Canada, they would ask us to choose a topic for a project, and mine would always be something that had to do with the United Kingdom or the British Isles.
Ah,
Always, always. I loved the accent. I loved the history, the counties, the countryside, everything. And my husband's British, so
yes.
that kind of
Yes.
added to it.
Yeah. So whereabouts in
Yes,
Britain is your husband from then?
he's from London, Blackheath,
Okay. Okay. So
SE3.
this is how and then I wanted to ask you. So we've got the husband died, my big fat Italian breakup, Storm in a D cup. We've also got books like One Summer in Sicily, obviously drawing on that experience. And then we have a beautiful series, the Little Cornish series. So how did we get to that? Tell me.
That happened, funnily enough, after I saw the Poldark series
Oh,
and all the
right.
landscapes. I
Right.
fell in love with the landscapes.
Yeah.
So I had to go and check it out for myself.
Right.
And I went, stayed no longer than 2 weeks, and I was just obsessed. I had to visit and see every corner of the county. And it's just even now that I'm thinking about Cornwall, and I live in Sicily, that's beautiful, beautiful
Yeah,
island.
yeah.
But
The
even now thinking about
coastline's something else, though, isn't it? Really? Had you read the Poldark books by
the
Winston
series,
Graham?
Winston Graham,
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely.
so because it's strange. Well, not strange, but back in the 80s, there was a fantastic dramatization of Poldark. I mean,
Yes,
then, BBC wasn't what it is now. And then suddenly it came back on our screens, some years ago with Aidan Turner. And they'd also
yes,
rehired the guy who had played the original Poldark. He
as
played
the
the,
judge.
yeah, that's right.
That's
And
right.
it was a magnificent series. It was just
It's
superb.
beautiful.
Did you felt it was
Well, I
did
wasn't lucky
you
enough to see.
it was true to the books? Did you feel it was quite true to the books?
It was true to the books, but I found that there was so much more in the books.
Yeah,
The series, the script that was written by Debbie Horsfield, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah, yeah,
it was very true to the books. But again, I thought that in the books there were these turns of thought and these many mechanisms and many reasonings were explained in the book that you can
Mm.
tell from the actors' faces because they're all so talented. But
Mm.
to actually go through and enter the head of the character
Yeah.
and see and live what they're thinking, I think, well, let's say books are always so much better,
Yes.
in my opinion. Yeah. And it's the
So
same
the reasoning for
for the
wanting
series.
really an English publisher was not because you thought you'd sell more in England, just that you just felt you
Oh
want to
no,
be represented by an English company. Right. Oh, that's
absolutely.
interesting. Because I mean now the crossover English publishers, American publishers, I don't really know that much about Canadian publishers, but they're interchangeable now. I mean, so many of the big five have representation in the States anyway. So
Absolutely. Yes.
it's just got narrower. There's no divide anymore between, I think, really English publishing and American publishing. They're just more or less the same now. But
More or less,
with
I
Italy,
guess I guess it's just because when I'm in England, I feel so much at home.
do you?
I used to I lived there for a year and a half. That's when I was a cover supervisor in secondary school. And I just feel at home. The minute I land at Gatwick, I'm like, oh, thank God. You know, I just feel at home. And we go back 3 or 4 times a year. We have family there as well.
Mm.
So I think I know more about England than I do about Italy, to be honest with you. And I've lived here for, oh, I don't know, 40 plus years.
Don't you feel
Funny, isn't it?
Sicilian at
Just catch it.
all? If I said to
Oh,
you,
yes, I feel
what
very Sicilian.
nationality are you? What comes to mind first?
I think, well, by birth, Sicilian, because both my
Yeah,
parents are Sicilian.
yeah.
And I think I have a Sicilian temper.
Oh,
I'll come up with
oh, that's good to hear.
I'll come up with things like I don't remember the movie. It was Gino Lollobrigida and Cary Grant, I think, and they're arguing. And he says, "Be reasonable," and she says, "I don't have to be reasonable. I'm
I'm
Italian."
Italian.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, that's
So
very
that's
true. That's very true. So we've got the book One Summer in Sicily. What is next for you? What's on the horizon, writing wise? Where is it going to be set?
funny. You should mention that it's going to be set just like One Summer in Sicily was set in Lipari. I've got another book. I'm halfway through it. It's set in Lipari as well. That's another place that I visited, and I thought, I don't want to get back onto the boat. How can I stay here? So I did as much research as I could while I was there. I spoke to the people from Lipari. I visited so many places, and I took back enough with me in my head and in my heart, and it just came out. And now this book here is half of it is in the past and half of it is in the present.
Right.
His version is the past and her
Oh,
version is the
wow.
present, and
Oh, dual timeline.
there's so much of Lipari. Yeah, I jump back and forth.
You're known, I mean, if you key your name into Google, your name as an author of rom-coms, contemporary women's fiction. Are you happy with those titles? Would you like to break out and think, yes, I will do a historical fiction or something completely different? Or are you happy with the genre that your books have been placed in?
I am happy with the genre because I think rom-com, everybody needs a good laugh and to
Yeah,
believe in love. So
yeah.
absolutely, I'm happy with that. But I've noticed that lately, as the years go by, I've kind of um, dipped into women's fiction more often
Or
because all the women's plights become more relatable when you grow
right.
out of that 20, 30-year-old phase where it's all about love.
Yeah.
It's not just about love, it's about relationships, it's about dealing with the hardships of life. And all my characters start out in terrible pitfalls, but because of their sense of humor and their strength, they manage to climb out of the pit of despair that they are in at the beginning. So they all have a strong arc.
What
That's
would
what I
you
think makes
say is
believable
your
too.
own favorite rom-com? Are you a Bridget Jones's fan? What would be your go-to rom-com?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You hit it on the nail. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Absolutely love British Bridget Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think she is my favorite. But there are other authors that I really like. I love Holly Martin. I
yes,
think she's amazing.
yeah,
Freya North,
yeah,
Jenny Colgan,
yeah,
uh, Jennifer Weiner. She um what was it called? Good in Bed.
yeah,
That's the first book that I read by Jennifer Weiner, and I thought, yep, that's me. I can relate
yeah.
to
I
that as
want to
well.
do something like
But
that.
there's so many amazing authors. Yeah,
So,
Portia McIntosh.
literary success. Now, I have to read this out because it's such a you have 21 books on Goodreads with 14,341 ratings. And I think that's,
You're kidding.
yeah, no, that's what it says on Google. 21
Oh,
books. Oh, they're
well, I
21.
think no, they're not that many. I think some of them were republished
Oh, right.
with a
Oh,
different
maybe
author,
that's why
a
then.
different publisher.
Yeah, oh, right.
Yeah, I
Right,
think I'm
yeah.
up
Oh,
to maybe 14 or
right.
15. I lost count, but those
Oh,
extra ones are certainly
right. Republished
re
ones. What
yes.
does literary success mean to you? Money, fame, or both?
No, not both. Um, Not even money because I have a job that pays me well. It's escapism.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
I am justified by coming home, sitting down, and tapping away at this computer, building my own world. Because once you get over the imposter syndrome, still working on that, by the way. But it's
You and a
funny
lot of
because
other authors.
I know what is with that. It's crazy.
No, I don't know. I even see it on writing retreat, just a couple of weeks before, we all do a Zoom to introduce everybody, and a few have been, I've got my creative writing, MBA from Oxford, and then a few, I shouldn't really be here. I just read books. I don't have any
Oh yeah.
qualifications. And it's there. It's there straight away. Almost like they don't feel they deserve a place on a writing retreat because they don't
Absolutely.
have the qualifications and I just read books and I
Absolutely.
always say that's all you have to do. That's it. That's all
Yeah,
the
slowly learning that.
experience that you need to be able to write. So you've got the day job. Will you ever give up the day job? Or when you give up the day job, would you write full time? Or has that always been, just a wonderful, wonderful sort of full-time hobby in a way?
No, I think I'll write full time eventually. Uh, that is the plan, but I don't want to leave it too late
No.
because while you're sharp, while you're in your, I like to think of myself in my prime,
Of course you
even
are. Of
though
course you are.
60 is just around the corner. But yeah, and as I said before, every year that goes by is living experience and it contributes to what you can give other readers.
So
Readers love to know.
tell me, at a dinner party, when you meet someone that you don't know, and the first person they say is, "And what do you do for a living?" Do you say, "I'm a teacher," or do you say, "I'm a published author"?
It's funny, I say I'm a teacher because it's a safer bet. I say I'm a
That's
teacher,
very
and then
unassuming of
that's
you.
nice.
But here's a book. Would you like me to sign it for you?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
again because I'm shy, I don't like too much attention on me. I'm
But
public speaking is a nightmare for me.
But people
So no, I'm a
love
teacher
to
with
meet authors. You said yourself, or actors, I'm at Aidan Turner. I mean, whenever I go to a book signing, whoever it is, there I am with my book and a pen, pushing myself, elbowing forward, you know, please sign it, and then I signed, it says to Wendy, and it's just whoever it is, there's some. there's that connection between me and somebody who's written a book and they've signed a copy for me. I'll never get out of that. I still do that, still do
Oh
that.
no, absolutely. It never gets old. I got recognized, I think I was recognized a couple of years ago for the first time. I was in a bookshop browsing, and yes, I'd already checked that my books were on the shelf. And
Good,
I'm
good.
browsing, and then someone comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, are you Nancy Barone?" And I turned around and I went, "Well, yes, I am." And they were so happy, and they wanted a picture, they wanted their book
Oh,
signed.
wow. I think that's wonderful. But that is the total validation that you could, that you could get from anybody that, yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Hmm.
Another question. Does writing well, obviously it doesn't. Does it, to some people they can find the process exhausting, especially I suppose if you've got a deadline, you've got edits to do, and it's, oh God. But would you say it energizes you or exhausts you? Which one? Bit of
I'd
both,
say a bit of
maybe.
both,
Oh, you're
absolutely.
right.
Plus, deadlines are what scare the bejesus out
Yeah,
of me, but they're what make
yes,
me
I can
productive.
imagine. Yeah, I can
I
imagine.
work very well under pressure. So you cut out the nonsense, cut to
Yeah.
the chase, and just do what needs to be done.
Yeah,
I'm in the phase, I'm doing edits right now. I'm in my
right.
editing cave and I'm exhausted, but hoping that it'll be worth it
Has to be done.
in the end.
How much
Yeah, but it
control
does energize me.
do you have over the cover, the title, the ending? Did you just negotiate with your publisher? Look, I want more control than you've given me here. How's that for you, that process? Because I know every author's different, aren't they? Every contract's different.
Yeah, but I come from a place where when I started, I didn't know anything about the business
Yeah.
whatsoever. So
Yeah.
I'm always happy to put myself in the hands of who knows best.
Right. Right. That's
So
good
they know what kind of
advice.
cover sells.
Right.
Absolutely. I would suggest this to anybody. They know what covers sell. They know what titles sell. I
Yeah.
mean, keeping it light became the husband diet. I would have never thought of that myself.
No.
So absolutely. I have they asked me for my opinion. I have my say, but I've never once put my foot down because I've loved every decision they've made.
Right.
So I'm happy
Yeah.
with it.
And as you say, they are the experts. They've been doing it for many years. They have their lists every day, their book lists, so they know. I think the
Their
one author,
algorithms.
I think one author I interviewed, she said she was going to write this book set in wherever it was, Bulgaria or Lithuania. And they just said, no, 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 no. Italy sells,
All right.
stick with Italy. We just won't be able to sell it if you've written it, set it in Bulgaria or something. And she went, okay, okay. So yeah,
That kind of makes sense though, doesn't it?
yeah, they know what they're doing. Um,
But
tell
we're
me
also lucky
about
because we live here, so
what
we
we
know.
are. We
Yeah.
are. Your favorite childhood book, please.
Oh gosh, there were not just one. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Anything by Judy Blume, for sure.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
The Secret World of Og,
Right.
uh, A Wrinkle in Time,
Right.
uh, Freaky Friday. Actually,
Yeah.
I think Freaky Friday influenced my Erica, the husband diet character,
Right.
because she was a bit wacky in the way. Yeah,
How
absolutely.
wonderful.
Those are my go-to books. Charlotte's Web, obviously.
Yeah. So we've got, hopefully, when might we see the next book out? Would that be early next
July.
year? Oh, July.
July,
Oh, my
July
goodness.
26th, I think. Yep, it's
Do
just
they,
around the
do they,
corner.
how far in advance do they set the date then? Do you know when that's going to be?
6 or 7 months. I'm still in the
Right.
editing process,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that I'd
But,
better get a move on because it's out
right.
in July.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And
it's
where
an
can
exciting
people,
process.
it is, where can people, I don't want you to reveal anything. You can't tell us about the title. You don't know that yet, or,
I don't know the title yet.
yeah.
I can tell you that it's set in a wellness clinic in the Alps. The
Ooh,
first half. And the
Right.
second half is set in Sicily.
Yeah. Oh, this sounds nice.
Yeah, yeah. It's
And
been fun writing it.
what do
Absolutely
your
exhausting.
family think of you? Think of what does husband think of my wife, the writer?
Yeah, at a dinner party, I'll say, "Oh yeah, I teach," and he'll say, "Tell the truth." Yeah, no, he's very proud of me, and he's so
Yeah.
supportive.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna have an afternoon writing, he'll cook dinner, he'll do the laundry, he'll do the
Oh,
vacuuming. He'll
oh,
just,
can I borrow him?
oh yeah, he'll say, "You just write me a blockbuster there, honey." So yeah, he's so
Oh,
supportive.
that's wonderful. Would you say I mean, that's not a prerequisite to writing, but just having that support of family and friends,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's a
It's
good
part
thing,
of life. In order to write about love and feelings, you need to have love and feelings. You
for
need to
sure.
live life to the full.
The creative writing element, the skills, the process, how is that different now to the very first one, say the husband diet? I mean, do you look at the husband diet and think, oh gosh, yeah, I that could have been improved a little bit? Or, I mean, do you feel you've got better as a writer?
I think as the years go by, with every book, your technique becomes more refined.
Right.
But the husband diet was very visceral.
Yeah.
It came straight out of the gut, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
that's why it had such a strong impact
Right.
and that's why it was relatable because it said things that not many women had thought it was appropriate to say or would want to reveal that vulnerable side of
Yeah.
themselves. Whereas Erica, she just let it out. And I've kept I still write from the gut, but maybe my technique is a bit less naive, a bit more
Right,
refined.
right. But that's the process,
Just a
isn't
tad.
it? When you said earlier, when I started this, I didn't know anything about publishing or contracts or, it's
Nothing.
not, it's the whole process, isn't it, really, that you don't know what you don't know, until you start this whole gambit thing, really. But
Yeah. And it's been great.
yeah, I can imagine. Well,
Yeah.
listen, can I thank you for your time? It's been really, really interesting. And next time we're in Sicily, which, well, we're not sure actually, because my husband does transport and somebody from Glasgow,
Uh-huh.
wants some house removals from Glasgow down to Sicily. So we might be back in
Wow.
Sicily in the new year.
That would
So
be great. We could meet up.
yeah.
Thank you
Well,
so much for inviting me, Wendy.
thank you for your time again. It's been such a pleasure and so interesting to hear about the books, the writing process, and the journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Enjoyed it.
Have a lovely
Enjoy.
evening.
You too. Take care and keep writing.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.